Last time we left you in Hoedspruit, where we stayed in a treehouse located amongst the wilderness. This was also our first close encounter with some beautiful African animals.
In this episode, we head into Kruger National Park and over to our next accommodation in the Satara Camp Site.
As we were heading across, our expectations were that we would need to all be really focused, as the animals would be difficult to spot.
Imagine our surprise when a few minutes into the park, we found ourselves greeted by an amazing variety of stunning wildlife.
It must have taken Katja and Callum a lot of planning to organise such a wonderful welcome.
Just come into the Kruger National Park and we've already seen elephants, zebras, impala and wildebeest. This is our roundup for the next few days. It's 5 a.m. and we're heading out on our first safari drive. Hopefully we see lions.
Hold on to hope, don't let go, don't give up, there's rest for your weary soul, and time to heal yet see you.
Our morning drive started with a quick rush of adrenaline, as an elephant was not happy with the space available for him to cross the road.
And I said, what would you do if you could?
Is that just as quick as an elephant can cross the road and disappear, another one can appear on the opposite side of the road.
My words are few, but I love you. Those words, please hear them.
Another lesson that we quickly learned was that if a car in front of you suddenly places the reverse lights on, it is most likely because of a charging elephant, and not just that they are looking for a better place to take a photo. When multiple cars all place the reverse lights on, it is definitely because of an elephant.
But you've been through, I wish it was all pretend, just an awful dream, but please don't let your heart grow dead.
But in general, elephants were tranquil, peaceful, beautiful animals that weren't bothered by us at all.
What wasn't a tranquil and peaceful animal was the baboon. In fact, the second that they were spotted, all car windows needed to be put up in a flash, as the baboons have a tendency to jump into cars.
My words are few, but I love you. Those words, please hear them.
The waterbuck could be easily differentiated from the other types of antelope because of the toilet seat marking on their bottom.
Another expectation that we did not originally have was our growing interest in African birds.
We're both alive, so we'll pour our grace until we die.
One of our favourite animals were the impalas. These were small, very well groomed, beautiful antelopes, and with an estimated 152,000 of them in Kruger. We were going to see a lot of them.
The reason you see the younger ones running for their lives whilst the older ones are just relaxing, it is because the young ones are simply practicing.
The blue wildebeest, or gnu, with blue striped markings, was another animal that in real life was also quite nice to spot.
We've just been out for 4 hours and we saw heaps of animals, but still no lions.
That afternoon, we were alerted that a pride of lions was spotted near a road 8.8 kilometres from our camp. Although we found the spot, we could not see or film them.
Then, as we were ready to leave, and Dad happened to have a camera in hand, he managed to take 2 quick photos of a lioness readjusting her position.
After a few minutes, we drove on as Karcher and Callum had suggested that we could drive to a picnic ground not so far away.
Along the way, we ran into a few teenage elephants that were having a bit of a wrestle. So we thought it would be best if we gave them some space for a little while. After all, we didn't have too much time before we had to head back.
This reminds me, whilst waiting for the elephants to move on, I heard Mum ask Dad what keeps people safe from the lions at the picnic grounds we were heading to. I believe Dad's final words were, "I am sure that it'll be as safe as the camps where we are staying."
Spoiler alert! We are now changing the background music to be more in tune with the safety level of the picnic ground. We are now having a picnic at a safari park and we've just seen lions, and it's really safe here. Or not.
By now, like us, I'm sure that you have learned what reverse lights are likely to mean. Yes, another elephant.
This time around, we were more concerned that we wouldn't be back in time to the camp.
You see, the accommodation camps have a curfew, and if anyone is late, they'll be welcomed by a lovely ranger waiting with a fine in hand.
As a stroke of luck, some of the drivers, including Mummy, worked out that the elephant was not challenging the cars. He was simply merrily walking to his destination and keeping to his side of the road.
Very quickly, all of the vehicles moved to the opposite side of the road and held their breath.
At this point, it was interesting to watch how people reacted differently to this risky situation. instance, the car on the left was an example of procrastination. And the white car now heading our way was an example of fight or flight. And the car in front of us was an example of placing oneself behind someone else in hope that the car in front is taken out first.
Another 5 a.m. start off to look for animals.
It didn't take long before we ran into our first elephant.
And it also didn't take us long to find ourselves in the company of a hyena.
But the real surprise was running into 2 male lions resting in an open area.
We weren't the only ones that were surprised by this. A few minutes after we arrived, 5 wildebeest also ran into the lions. At first, the lions looked like they wanted to catch one of the wildebeest. However, when the lions saw that all 5 wildebeest stopped and were standing their ground, the lions decided to leave them alone. After a few more minutes, the wildebeest continued on their journey.
The next amazing experience was running into a leopard resting in a tree. It was absolutely beautiful.
We've had an extremely exciting morning. We've seen lions trying to hunt wildebeest, a leopard relaxing in a tree, and we got chased by an elephant.
We're on our way to meet a tamed hippo called Jessica.
Now that we had seen a leopard, we had managed to see 4 of the big 5 animals in South Africa.
The big 5 animals are the lion, leopard, rhinoceros, elephant and buffalo. We only had the rhino left to see. When we got there, we found out that they had another small orphaned hippo that they were also raising.
Jessica is an orphaned hippo that was rescued by a couple when she was extremely young. During a flood, she had washed into their backyard, which was on the banks of a river. When they found her, she still had her umbilical cord attached. The couple ended up raising her as their own daughter.
We have got 2 hippos. The popular one is Jessica. The other one is called Rich, is a male.
The thing is, Jess is a hippopotamus, a hippo who lives in a house with a game warden and...
After learning about Jessica and viewing an Australian documentary about her, We finally got to meet the celebrity.
Amazingly, Jessica is actually free to come and go as she pleases. In fact, she often swims down the river to spend time with the other hippos. Surprisingly though, at night she comes back and goes to sleep in her bed on the porch. I was pleasantly surprised when we were told that we could feed her.
Not only did we feed her, but we also got to kiss her.
This was an amazing experience, especially as very few people get to be so close to a hippo and get to tell the story. On average, 2,900 people get killed in Africa by hippos each year, making them the most dangerous animal in Africa.
On our last day at the Satara Camp Site, we decided to go for one of the organised night drives. This started as lots of fun.
However, it was not too long before we were confronted by a gruesome scene. A pride of lions had just killed a buffalo.
Although we have selected the less gruesome footage, if you don't like the sight of blood, I would suggest that you look away for the next 30 seconds. Okay, you can look again.
It is worth mentioning that, although seeing the animals was definitely amazing, the sunsets were also incredible. And on the way back, I was lucky enough to be given the responsibility of using the spotlight to look for more animals.